QuickBooks to me has kind of become synonymous with startup software. Anyone that's thinking about starting up a company, you almost always just think that you're going to go with QuickBooks. It's easy to use. Implementation is extremely quick. I've heard of companies getting up on QuickBooks within 30 minutes. It's not going to happen with a more robust system. I've also worked with companies that are in the millions of dollars of revenue that are continuing to stay on QuickBooks and working quite well. QuickBooks cannot satisfy complex reporting needs. QuickBooks also cannot match comprehensive business processes. QuickBooks has a limitation of 30 users. So as soon as you go up to a number 31 of concurrent users, there's no doubt that it's time to look at another solution. Most companies that come to me when they feel like they want to switch off of QuickBooks, it's because they have an inventory problem. They want better inventory control or they want better inventory management. QuickBooks is not going to handle the inventory management side whatsoever. There's possibly some add-ons that I'm not aware of, but it's definitely not going to handle inventory replenishment. A huge reason, that people have decided that they've outgrown QuickBooks is when they start getting into banking compliance. Another reason, in my opinion, why people might be ready to outgrow QuickBooks is when they're essentially running their business in Excel in addition to QuickBooks. If you're keeping your RMAs or your POs or your sales orders or your shipping logs in Excel, it's time to look at perhaps another system. Integration, a 360-degree view. If you think about a typical company as they grow, there's the accounting portion, there's finance, what we all call finance, right? There's sales, customer service, inventory control, shipping, receiving, email marketing, human resources, payroll. All of these different departments should have and deserve a 360-degree view of the entire company, and you're not going to be able to get that with QuickBooks. If you're rekeying data, perhaps into Excel as a separate log, or into QuickBooks a second time, or taking data from an outsourced payroll solution and having to rekey it as a journal entry into QuickBooks, then it's taking double the effort. As a company grows from just being a mom and pop type company to actually having real employees, we all want to be able to make the decisions, and hopefully the owners or who's ever running the company has empowered us to make those decisions. In order to have employee empowerment, you have to have some programs that allow that. And QuickBooks is probably going to cut off there because it's not going to have enough robust features to allow employees to make analytical decisions in order to do their jobs. Transactional volume, eventually you may notice slowdown in QuickBooks because it just was never designed for the thousands or millions of transactions that nowadays companies want and need to have. And if you're noticing slowdowns, it's possibly you're going to outgrow QuickBooks. What to do when you outgrow QuickBooks? The first thing I always recommend to people is to change before you have to. If you are on QuickBooks or know someone that is on QuickBooks, the time to change is now before the system breaks. That's my advice. I've had too many situations where people call me up and say, I need something tomorrow because my QuickBooks or whatever system they're on just broke and they can't get into it. Another important thing is that when you switch applications, when you switch off of QuickBooks, go into it knowing that it's going to cost you money because software applications are not cheap. A lot of times I divide a new software application into potentially 3 components, although SaaS or cloud-based models are often changing this, but a software purchase is divided into three components. 1 is the actual software purchase. 2 is the actual maintenance and support that allows that software to be maintained and the new versions to come out. And the 3rd is the professional services or consulting that you might need in order to implement it. If you don't have the time or you don't have the knowledge, then you're probably going to have to, it would behoove you to hire professional service consultants to help you with the implementation. I also recommend creating a task force, meaning that don't try to make the decision just by your own. Involve the HR people, the shipping people, the service people, the customer service people. Involve them in trying to outline what it is you're trying to achieve. all of these are really talking about that you're looking for a system that can grow with you. It's not going to make you stuck right now. Making integration important is we want a system that can integrate and talk with other systems. We don't want something with a closed architecture of a database that cannot talk with other systems or doesn't have appropriate add-ons. Always, always, always make a software decision before a hardware decision. Leave the hardware out of it. The IT folks, the IT professionals, such as Daniel's team, will take care of that. Always make a software decision first and let the software dictate what type of hardware that you're going to get. Very, very important. Select the right publisher. That's very important to understand because you want the type of publisher that is going to put a lot of money into R&D. It's very easy to research. What I mean by select the right publisher is that popular is always better when it comes to software. Well, nowadays the tools are so common and there's so many programmers out there that the ability to customize it is important. You do not want to have a program, if possible, that doesn't allow you to customize it. And if possible, you don't want to have a program where only the publisher is the one that is allowed to publish the software. And then finally, the last point I make is to not do a demo of the software too early. Everyone wants to see a demo right away. Find out if the product is within your budget. Find out all these other things we've talked about. If the publisher makes sense, if they offer good support, if it's a popular program. And then, eventually do a demo, but the demo can always happen at any point in time.